What's up, guys? This is Carter again. So I wanted to make a YouTube video talking about what I've done wrong and what I think I've done right in the past hiring for my window cleaning business. I live in Tampa, if you guys didn't know. Let me flip this around. I'm in my apartment, just chilling, having a good day. Oh, let's actually get a sneak peek of the view real quick here for you guys. Ooh. Hey, alright. Okay, back to the video. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about my experiences hiring technicians, not sales guys. I'll make a video on that as well, but hiring technicians, because I'm going through a phase right now where I'm gonna have to make some changes on like the actual, like structure behind my technicians and who I hired and all that. So I wanted to make a video on it. Basically, right now I have three full-time technicians work 5 days a week, and I want to continue to have three full-time technicians. They clean about, I would say, $600 to $800 a day on average each in revenue. So, well, I try to get them to, but for the most part, it's a little slow most of the days. But we're working towards it. That's why I'm making changes. But I mean, they're all 1099s right now. I'm working with a CFO agency. So, whoops, let me this changed up right here. All right, there we go. Ooh, I think we're good now. I'm working with a CFO agency now, so we're getting everything dialed in to change them into W2s. So there's a lot that comes with that, I got to pay Medicare, I got to pay Social Security, I got to pay more taxes, because they're paying 15% taxes, I think, right now as a 1099, because technically they're their own business. But once I move them to W2, they're a real employee, so they have to, I have to pay, half the taxes. So I got to pay probably an extra like 12-13% of the revenue that they generate, just towards all of that stuff. It doesn't go towards them, but towards all of that stuff. So I have to change the commission structure with my technicians now. And right now, I'm running it at like 25% per technician, which is super, super high. I tried to call my technicians earlier today and tell them, we're gonna have to drop that because of everything that's happened, and everything that's about to come. Because I gotta pay workers' comp, I gotta pay insurance for everyone. Like, it's just a lot more expenses that actually are going into the business now, and I can't have my margins are getting a lot tighter, so I can't have 25% on commission on technicians, which is unfortunate for them. I would love to pay them 25%, but just with all the expenses I have now, it's getting hard. And with that being said, the way I am supplementing that lost commission that I have to take away from them, I changed my structure on, the actual job, like the jobs that get completed. So as of right now, or as of last week, we were collecting checks and cash and doing Venmo or whatever, like any type of payment. But going forward, starting next week, or starting Monday, it's Saturday right now, starting Monday, I'm going to be doing invoice only. So my technicians will only be collecting invoices. And with that, we highly incentivize tips from all of our clients. So it used to say 10, 15, 20% for tipping them. I changed that to 15, 20, 25. So now it's like we're dewing the customers, we're getting them to pay more just to supplement for that lost commission. And last week alone, one of my technicians made like $300 in tips, so we're very close. I think it was like $280. But yeah, tips kind of it's kind of like a server or waitress job at this point for my technicians. I really make sure that they're good at talking with people, and they're very personable and can build relationships. That way they are getting those tips, because the commission that I'm paying them, for the most part, isn't like high enough on its own. So the tips is basically what has to do the rest of the work there. So it's kind of like a waiter job where the waiters get paid $4 an hour plus all their tips, and the tips kind of feed them. It's kind of like that. And the good thing about the clients that we work with on door to door, they always tip. And I use a CRM called Flyra. If you guys aren't using that, then you should definitely use it. It highly incentivizes these clients to tip. And I think it's getting more and more known that in window cleaning, you should tip your technicians. So that's really cool there. As far as other things that I'm changing, other than like the tipping structure, commission structure and whatnot, I am starting my new technicians, not at 25, like I said, but at 15% commission. And you may be like, oh, Carter, that's super, super low. It's just, I think it's the best way to do it because, you have some room to work with them and give them, move them up on the scale. So my plan with it is you start them at 15, then from there you move them up to 17.5 within like the first month, first 30 days, just so they do get a little boost in commission. And then after like 3 to 6 months, after they prove themselves even more, then you bump it up to 20% commission. And then after that, you can turn them into your like lead technician or an operations manager or something, and then start giving them base pay on top of, the 20% commission. I don't want to go anything over 20% commission because I'm already paying sales reps 30% minimum. So I'm already at 50% margins that I have to pay out unless I sell the jobs myself. But I don't want to keep losing more margins because, my technicians are all sitting at like 25%. Then I'm already down 5%, and it's just going to be a lot harder to either sell my business or do something with it in the near future. So starting them at 15, bump them up to 17.5, bump them up to 20, and then if they're really, really good, then you start giving them base pay like 150 a week, or maybe 200 a week, or 300 a week, or 400 a week, however much you think they deserve. As well as you can turn them into like an operations manager or lead technician, like I said, where they're going to be changing, filters on your equipment. They're going to be training new guys. They're going to be running around the service area and helping out technicians that are behind, or dealing with annoyed clients. So there's a lot of things you can train these guys to do, and the way that I'm going to have it set up going in the future is going to really protect my margins, as well as it's going to be honestly better for the technicians because of everything else that I've put in place. And a lot of times your technicians, guys, they don't want to have commission pay. They just want to be able to work and be able to know that they can feed their family, or they can just put money in their pocket. A lot of people don't actually like the commission pay, at least the technicians, because these guys, they're employees, they're not entrepreneurs. If they were entrepreneurs, they wouldn't even be working as a technician. So, and they wouldn't even be, if they could decide between base pay or commission pay, and it's the same exact, say you get $150 a day, guaranteed flat pay, or you get $150 a day commission every day, but you didn't know that you were going to get it, they would always pick the flat pay because, they know it's guaranteed. So you got to remember that going forward. And that's why I'm changing everything on my end with the technicians in that regards. But as far as like mistakes that I've made hiring, I think a really, really big one would be I wasn't really looking for people that had liabilities. I think it's really smart to look for people that have kids, or have a lot of bills, because they actually need to work. I have technicians right now that have no liabilities, and they live with their parents. And with that being said, they don't actually need the money to they don't need it. So they're not as inclined to work harder or upsell more, or make more money themselves. So I'm going to be looking for people that are, for one, have kids, have a lot of bills. They're older. I'm going to be looking in the 30 to 40-year-old range for the most part. That just helps me find someone that I know will be reliable and I can depend on, because these people that don't have any liabilities, they're not going to be on time all the time. They're not going to work as hard as someone else that might have liabilities, as well as they're not going to upsell as much. So with upsells, you know, you're obviously going to be missing out on money as well. My upsell structure is 50% commission. So 25% commission on cleaning it, and then 25% on selling it. So 50% total. And I really need to do a better job at actually like drilling that into my technicians to where they know they should be upselling. Because if I was a technician and I got 50%, dude, I'd be selling that every single day, man. That's a really high percentage, and I think I'm going to drop it down to 40%, just because it is pretty high. But I need to drill it into my technicians so they know they need to be upselling, because that's so much money sitting on the table, not only for the technicians but also for the business. So definitely drill that into the technicians. You know, make sure they know you got to be upselling. One thing that I do think I did good at picking my technicians was I pick people that they're really good at communicating. Because if you pick like some Hispanic dude that doesn't speak English, you know, he's not going to be getting any tips. He's also not going to be able to upsell at all. He's not going to be a good representation for your brand and your company. You want someone that can be personable with the clients and actually build a relationship with. So every time they come back in the future, if you have ARR and you have these people on a subscription, that they're going to be able to come back. My technicians will be able to come back, and you know, it's going to be the same face for them, and they're going to like that person, and they're going to be happy and excited for that person to come back every single time. So I think that's one thing that I did do good at with my technicians currently, is a lot of them are very personable, and I always get good reviews and good feedback from that. But the things that I mentioned that I didn't do well, I need to change moving forward, and it's going to be a lot more of a niche pick for my technician, whichever one that I pick. So it's going to be a little bit more searching to find that right fit. But you know, once you guys find that right fit, then you know it's going to be smooth sailing. Then you should be able to keep that guy around for like a year, 2 years. I haven't seen anyone really keep a technician more than 3 years, but you know, if you're building something really huge, then I'm sure people will stick around. But that's all I really got. It was kind of like a raw, unfiltered video, and just kind of my thoughts on what I'm going to be doing moving forward and changing, and what you guys should take into consideration as well if you run a window cleaning business. But yeah, see you guys later.